The sinking of the RMS Titanic is one of the most famous maritime disasters in history, captivating the imagination of people worldwide since its tragic occurrence on April 14 to 15, 1912. This event, with its mixture of human error, technological hubris, and the capriciousness of nature, has been extensively studied, analyzed, and retold in various forms of media, including books, documentaries, and films. In this comprehensive account, we will delve into the history of the Titanic, exploring its construction, maiden voyage, collision with the iceberg, sinking, aftermath, and enduring legacy. Construction and design. The Titanic was one of 3 Olympic-class ocean liners built by the White Star Line, a prominent British shipping company owned by J.P. Morgan's International Mercantile Marine Company. The other 2 ships in the class were the RMS Olympic and the HMHS Britannic. Construction of the Titanic began on March 31, 1909, at the Harland and Wolff shipyard in Belfast, Northern Ireland, under the supervision of naval architect Thomas Andrews. The Titanic was a marvel of engineering for its time, boasting luxurious amenities and advanced safety features. At the time of its launch, it was the largest and most luxurious ship afloat, measuring approximately 882 feet, 269 meters, in length and weighing around 46,000 tons. It featured a double-bottomed hull divided into 16 watertight compartments, designed to keep the ship afloat even if multiple compartments were breached. Despite its reputation as unsinkable, the Titanic's safety features were not without flaws. The ship had a limited number of lifeboats, capable of accommodating only about half of its total passenger and crew capacity. This deficiency was partly due to outdated maritime regulations, which had not been updated to account for the increasing size of ships like the Titanic. Maiden voyage. The Titanic set sail on its maiden voyage from Southampton, England, on April 10, 1912, bound for New York City. The ship made stops in Cherbourg, France, and Queenstown, now Cobb, Ireland, to pick up additional passengers and cargo. On board were approximately 2,224 people, including passengers and crew, representing a cross-section of society, from wealthy industrialists and celebrities to immigrants seeking a better life in America. The atmosphere aboard the Titanic was one of excitement and opulence. Passengers marveled at the ship's lavish interiors, which featured grand staircases, ornate dining rooms, and luxurious cabins equipped with modern amenities. The Titanic was also equipped with state-of-the-art facilities, including a gymnasium, swimming pool, and even a squash court, catering to the needs and desires of its affluent clientele. Despite the ship's luxurious accommodations, there were signs of trouble lurking beneath the surface. Several iceberg warnings were received via wireless telegraph during the voyage, alerting the crew to the presence of ice in the ship's path. However, these warnings were not taken as seriously as they should have been, as the Titanic's captain, Edward Smith, and other officers believed the ship to be virtually unsinkable. Collision with the iceberg. On the night of April 14, 1912, the Titanic struck an iceberg in the North Atlantic Ocean, approximately 400 miles south of Newfoundland. The collision occurred at 11:40 p.m. ship's time, when the ship's lookout, Frederick Fleet, spotted the iceberg directly ahead and alerted the bridge. Despite immediate efforts to maneuver the ship away from the iceberg and reverse its engines, it was too late to avoid a collision. The iceberg scraped along the starboard side of the Titanic, causing a series of punctures below the waterline. The ship's hull was breached in several places, allowing water to flood into the forward compartments. The crew quickly realized the severity of the situation and began taking measures to evacuate the ship and summon assistance. The Titanic's distress signal was sent out via wireless telegraph, alerting nearby ships to the emergency. The nearby RMS Carpathia, approximately 58 miles away, responded to the call for help and steamed full speed towards the stricken liner. Meanwhile, Efforts to launch the lifeboats and evacuate the passengers were hampered by a lack of preparedness and organization. Sinking and aftermath. As the Titanic began to list forward and sink deeper into the icy waters of the Atlantic, panic and chaos ensued among the passengers and crew. The shortage of lifeboats became painfully apparent, as many were launched only partially filled or not at all. Women and children were given priority access to the lifeboats, while many men remained behind, resigned to their fate. The Titanic's final moments were marked by acts of heroism and self-sacrifice, as passengers and crew members worked tirelessly to save as many lives as possible. The ship's band famously continued to play music on the deck, providing comfort and solace to those facing certain death. At 2:20 a.m. on April 15, 1912, the Titanic disappeared beneath the waves, taking more than 1,500 souls with it. The survivors, huddled in lifeboats or clinging to debris, faced a harrowing ordeal in the frigid waters of the North Atlantic, until they were rescued by the Carpathia several hours later. The sinking of the Titanic sent shockwaves around the world and sparked a wave of grief, outrage, and scrutiny. Investigations were launched on both sides of the Atlantic to determine the cause of the disaster and apportion blame. The British and American inquiries concluded that a combination of factors, including the ship's high speed, lack of binoculars in the crow's nest, and inadequate lifeboat provisions, had contributed to the tragedy. Legacy. The sinking of the Titanic had far-reaching consequences that reverberated throughout the maritime industry and beyond. It prompted sweeping changes to maritime safety regulations, including the implementation of stricter requirements for lifeboat capacity, mandatory lifeboat drills, and the establishment of an international ice patrol to monitor iceberg hazards in the North Atlantic. The Titanic also left an indelible mark on popular culture, inspiring countless books, films, songs, and works of art. The story of the unsinkable ship that met a tragic end continues to captivate the imagination of people worldwide, serving as a cautionary tale about the dangers of hubris, complacency, and the unforgiving power of nature. In conclusion, the sinking of the RMS Titanic remains one of the most enduring and compelling stories in history, a timeless reminder of the fragility of human life and the hubris of our technological achievements. Though more than a century has passed since that fateful night, the memory of the Titanic lives on, ensuring that the stories of those who perished and those who survived will never be forgotten. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe our channel.